HH, Health and Human Services Committee, approval of execution and engagement letter to join other Wisconsin counties in the lawsuit against pharmaceutical companies to recover costs incurred by Marathon County due to the opioid epidemic. Resolution 73-17. Motion by Supervisor Tremelling and second by Supervisor Hogendijk. Any discussion?
Kind of goes back to the tobacco settlement. If we're gonna go out and sue some big pharmacy companies, maybe we ought to go after the local doctors, the physicians who describe or prescribe this stuff. Maybe we ought to go after all the bartenders in the alcohol industry, and the beer industry, and the soda industry, and the sugar industry, and the salt industry for hypertension. There's something called personal responsibility. Any of us that have been on a prescription drug knows what it should do, and if we don't, that's a personal problem. I understand why the county wants to do this, but I just don't see passing the buck to somebody else. Pharmacies pass it on to the doctors. We should be looking at the doctors. Thank you.
I would respectfully disagree. I guess when we got the thing from Van Brazen, if you read in the packet, which I talked about last Thursday, I'll just read a couple excerpts. Opioids were historically used to provide effective treatment for short-term pain management. Controlled studies of the safety and efficacy of opioids were limited to short-term use. Pharma knew the limitations of the controlled studies. However, pharma knew that profits would skyrocket if they were able to market and sell opioid for long-term use, including to treat chronic pain. In order to expand their market and achieve a dramatic increase in profits, pharma decided to create a false marketing campaign designed to give the medical community and the public the false impression that opioids were safe and good for long-term use. This false marketing campaign began in the late 90s, but exponentially increased starting in about 2006 and continues to the present. It also says in the lawsuits have alleged that pharma and a select group of doctors worked together to create a false impression of the safety and, again, efficacy of opioids for long-term use. Allegations are that pharma and the doctors misled the medical community and consumers into believing that opioids were non-addictive and were viable options for treating of chronic pain. I also would like to say that with going through some of the things that we talked with some of these doctors at the WCA, this is not like alcohol where a bartender's giving you a drink or tobacco where you chose to take or to smoke a cigarette. This is going to the doctor and the doctor is saying, this is going to help you. With opioids and with methamphetamines, studies show that once you've had that in your system, your frontal cortex basically shuts down, which means all you're thinking about is taking that next hit or that next drug. I agree, you do agree that you do take responsibility for your own actions, but typically when a doctor says, oh yeah, this is safe and this is good to go, fine and dandy, you do it. And the pharmaceutical companies told these doctors that it was safe, that it's okay to do it. And I'm pretty sure everybody in this room has been probably given Oxycontin or oxycodone or something at some point. Here, go ahead, and I think it was a misrepresentation. I do agree with that, so that's my opinion, and that's all I got.
Just one other note, when we had the discussion with two of the attorneys that were representing one of the law firms, they brought to the attention of the committee that there was some executives in one of the large drug companies out east that have been convicted felony convictions of wrongdoing associated with the opioid prescription.
So I wanted to speak because for those of you that aren't aware, I was a certified pharmacy technician trained at Mayo Clinic starting in 2002. I spent almost a decade working in pharmacy. I worked first for Mayo Clinic and then I transferred over and worked for the Oneida Tribe in the Green Bay area. I saw firsthand what was happening as this was increasing, and I will tell you it is genuine. Those pharmaceutical companies came into the clinics, they came into the Walgreens, they came into the pharmacies, they provided our doctors with evidence. They were the experts. And they handed us in the pharmacies and in particular those doctors research and data and promised that this was accurate information. And it was skewed. We know that now. But we didn't then. We trusted because they were the people that knew, and they were giving us information that seemed credible. We trusted that they weren't going to come in and tell us to kill our patients. And yes, we could put it on the doctors. I actually had a rather interesting debate with a man I greatly respect on Facebook today about this topic because he disagrees with this. And as I was explaining to him, because that was his argument, is we need to be suing the doctors. Well, the doctors aren't pharmacists. The doctors aren't chemists. They didn't go to school for that. Yes, medication training is something that's part of their job. But they're taught the basics, and then they're taught to defer to the information, to get educated by the pharmaceutical companies about the meds before they prescribe them. If the only information that they were presented with is that this is good, this will help, this is why it's better than the other stuff, here's the statistics proving it, then these creatures of fact are going to follow that, and that is what happened. Now, obviously, new information came up. Over the last 5 to 10 years, people realized, hey, something doesn't smell right, and things shifted. Towards the end of my time in pharmacy, we were just starting to see the awareness grow. A lot of that actually came from government. Not all of those government people are evil. I will say that. I'm not excusing everyone. Bad apples everywhere. But there were insights that came out of that. So to try and say that this belongs on the doctors, I don't think is fair. That wasn't their responsibility. Most of them did due diligence. And to try and say that it was on government, well, perhaps, but how do we do that? In the end, I saw firsthand, I predicted the fentanyl price, as much as someone can. I remember thinking 15 years ago, if people keep prescribing like this, fentanyl's gonna hit the streets, and it did. And it was intentional. They came in with misleading information. They knew that it was bad. We know that now, we didn't then. Many ways, this is like the cigarette situation, where they downplayed the effects of cigarettes and smoking until a light was shone on it, and now cigarette use is going down. The use needs to go down, the realities need to be brought to light, and then people can make an informed decision. The lawsuit against cigarette companies didn't put cigarette companies out of business any more than this lawsuit will put drugs out of business, pharmaceuticals out of business, but it will make it more responsible. It will let them know and let other companies know you can't mislead the public. You can't mislead people and intentionally angle your information and never have a consequence. And that's what we would be doing if we didn't provide some consequences here. So this is one topic that I am passionate about. I don't think it has to do with, we can't take on the world, but there was intentional insight. So I encourage you to support this statement. Doesn't mean it's gonna do any good, but it at least makes a statement that we won't tolerate this being done to our people. Thank you.
What started out as an effort to try to deal with pain management led to a situation where there was significant addiction. And that addiction resulted in a number of societal problems that we are dealing with as a county today, with an increased population in our jails, an increased demand for child protective placement services, increased demands for alcohol and other drug abuse programming. This has a real impact on the county. If you look at the budget message and some of the other issues that are facing us, this is a real problem that was created because people misled the physician community to oversubscribe and led to that addiction. And as you move to control the opioids, they move on to other drugs, and the problem doesn't simply go away. in Marathon County, we had a high incidence of prescription of opioids among our physician community. And to their credit, North Central Healthcare developed a program to do outreach with the physician community to look at alternatives. And I think as you heard with the discussion on the aquatic therapy pool, that they are looking toward alternatives to pain management, which is what this is all about. But we have a long way to go. And as Supervisor Gill indicated, that there was a misstatement and a misleading of the physician community relative to the values and consequences of using that drug. I think it is in our interest, because of the cost that we have and will incur to join this lawsuit, and I would encourage you to vote for the resolution.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Supervisor Beastrom. Thank you, and we'll proceed. And the motion is carried.